As the Diddy trial goes on, a connection has been drawn between the drugs found in Liam's autopsy report and the recreational drug autopsy, sometimes referred to as pink candy, which Diddy used in his well-known freak-offs. This suggests that One Direction's beloved Liam Payne's death may finally be coming to an end. Let's get started. Liam perished last October after he fell from the balcony of the Casur. He was at the Pelio Hotel in Buenos Aires on vacation with his girlfriend, Kate Cassidy. Liam had been extremely open about his mental health issues and his occasional drug use, but now he seemed to be doing well and having fun with Kate, who had to go back home 2 days before his tragic death.
That's on the table.
Sorry.
Is this your hut?
Yeah.
Children. It's a lovely day here in Argentina. This is the breakfast table.
I'm just eating an orange.
Just enjoying coffee and breakfast, even though it's like 1 p.m.
Literally, we sleep in every day until at least 12. We're such losers.
No.
No.
When the police came, they found Liam's third-floor hotel room littered with alcohol and drugs. Broken bottles, charred foil, a smashed television, and an indistinguishable powder-like substance were all throughout the room. Authorities suspected drug use based on the burned foil, but they were unable to determine its purpose.
With ABC News by UK news outlet ITN appear to show drug paraphernalia and a smashed TV inside Payne's hotel room. Plus, in a 911 call, a hotel manager calls for help, saying there's a guest who's drunk on drugs and alcohol, breaking everything in the room. And he says he's fearing for the guest's life because of the balcony.
The hours prior to Liam's demise, hotel staff reported a visitor to the police twice. Around 5 p.m., a hotel staff member made the first call, claiming to be concerned that one of their guests was drunk. The caller identified himself as the chief executive officer. The guest was misbehaving and causing damage to the room, the hotel's receptionist explained. On a subsequent call, the same hotel staffer told the dispatcher that the guest was impaired by drugs and that he was dangerous to himself because he was standing so close to the balcony.
Hola.
911, ¿dónde es tu emergencia?
Hola, buenas tardes. Mira, te estoy llamando del Hotel Castro Sur Palermo, que queda en Costa Rica 6032.
6032 está entre Arevalo y Kramer.
Sí, correcto. Entre Arevalo y Dorrego, creo que es. Bueno, nada, tenemos un huésped que está sobrepasado de droga y está rompiendo toda la habitación. Así que necesitamos que venga alguien.
Entiendo, me dice entonces que es agresivo. Señor, ¿me repite el nombre del hotel, por favor?
The dispatcher arrived at the scene. Liam had already fallen to his death. People are drawing links after the Diddy trials made the public aware of pink candy, commonly known as autopsy, a recreational drug. Specifically, autopsy's detrimental impacts are very similar to Liam's actions before his death. These consequences, such as strange thinking or disorientation in seeing or hearing, may range from moderate to severe. According to reports, a great deal of agitation and unreal stuff when Diddy was arrested in New York. It was found that he was in possession of the same alleged designer chemical. Furthermore, autopsy was mentioned in L. Rod's case against Diddy for harassment. Rod claimed in his complaint that Diddy forced Tushin to do crimes. Furthermore, Lil Rod asserted that all employees of the Diddy organization, including the housekeepers, butlers, and cooks, were required to carry a bag in a fanny pouch with other medicines. Rod further verified that Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Carisha, who was compensated as one of the freak-off girls, assisted Diddy in moving autopsy over state lines. In an amended lawsuit, Rod described how he witnessed Diddy perform a few lines of autopsy in his dressing room and requested more information. Unfortunately, renowned drug mule Brandon Paul and his friend forgot to bring additional bags. Diddy's head of staff, Christina Carorum, was then announced that Carisha will bring some on her private jet as she departs Miami. A waiter who was accused of bringing drugs to Liam at his hotel was caught shortly after his murder made news. But according to this man, Liam already had illegal narcotics on him and even asked for some, but he refused. As a result, He said he had not given Liam any.
Nos conocimos, él me contactó en lo que es mi trabajo. Ahí nos pasamos lo que es el contacto y nos vimos, sí, ahí nos juntamos, él me mostró un poco de su música, de la música que iba a
A
hacer.
lot of people are interested in Liam and his connection to Pink Candy. This is causing a clip from Liam's interview on the Graham Norton show to reappear. Liam discusses a disturbing encounter he had with Diddy in the episode. According to him, a certain couldn't decide whether to approach Diddy and Jay-Z or Leonardo DiCaprio. He apparently thought Diddy would be the most secure of the three icons, but he was wrong. He continued by stating that Diddy was the source of his fear. And what do you know? Fans are talking about that.
P. Diddy. I went over to say hello to P. Diddy, and Jay-Z was there, and Leonardo DiCaprio was sat.
All right, I think you've dropped enough names. I think people thought Prince and Brian Ferry was good. We don't need to hear about other people who are in the room. Let's just stick on the people the story's about.
I went over and I thought, I was trying to think who's the easy target in this scenario, who's the one that you go to say the hello, and I'm thinking, I saw him and get him to the Greek, I'm going to go over there and say hello to him, so I thought, P. Diddy. So I went out to shake his hand, and I shook his hand, and I was, oh, nice to meet you, and he's just going, but the longest handshake ever. And I'm like sat there just looking in P. Diddy's eyes like, when is this going to end? And then the worst of it happened. There was a whole thing with Jay-Z, and I went to lean in to speak to him. But you can't lean in to speak to Jay-Z, you're not allowed to lean in. And his bodyguard just like shoved me like this, and I went flying across the room, and I was like, right, I'm just going to go and sit over here with Eddie Golden.
According to reports, Diddy chose Liam out to utilize as one of his boy toys. Furthermore, some sources claim that he needed to be kept silent since he was going to divulge everything. I can't tell you how much of what is being said is true because I'm just conveying it, so you have to decide for yourself. Liam's former fiancée, Maya Henry, offered some perspective on these. She claimed that following their breakup, Liam frequently asked for her help months before he passed away. She said that because she was writing a book about their connection, she never took Liam seriously, even though he would call and threaten to kill her and end her life. She also thought Liam was trying to postpone the release of her book by pleading for help.
Ever since we broke up, like, oh, I'm not well, he would always play with death and be like, well, I'm gonna die, I'm not doing well. I know the lifestyle he lives, and there is a day where something bad is going to happen, so I would always be like, okay, he's saying these things, I have to help him, because if I don't, I will never be able to live with myself if something does happen to him. He would text my mom, I'm not doing well, have Maya contact me, because I wouldn't respond. And it's just always the same cycle. Like, for example, when I announced my book, he did the same thing. He told my mom, I think I'm not going to be around much longer. And I don't play with death. So I'm like, if you say this, I'm going to try and help you no matter what you've done. And I think he took advantage of my family's kindness. And I was like, if you want to go back to rehab,
More details are then disclosed, such as a friend's concerns that Liam would kill himself or die inexplicably.
Friends is calling me and my mom being like, oh, you know, this isn't a good time for him. I don't think you should put the book out. You know, he's not doing well. And if something happens to him, not only are you going to blame yourself, but the whole world's going to blame you. And so I was like, just the fact that they just keep trying, I'm like, it is, like you said, such a low
child. There's more to discover about Liam's terrible and untimely demise, and a lot of people think differently about it. For example, the person who said, I knew his death had something to do with Diddy because the way he passed away was so strange. It happened following the interview and Diddy's eventual capture. Another individual asked if Liam had been willing to publicly admit that he feared Diddy, what would he have said to investigators who are building in private evidence against Diddy? Like, kid, he needed to be silenced immediately. Only time will be able to reveal the truth about these outrageous accusations. However, for the time being, we would want to hear your thoughts on this. Remember to use the like and subscribe buttons for future posts like this one, and leave a comment with your ideas and conclusions. Watch the upcoming video as well for the latest celebrity information.